at 2:30 on Sunday afternoon. And this is a very special one because this is the 1 year anniversary of me running live streams. I've been running the channel close to 3 years, but started live streams kind of late in the game. And so this makes 1 year, and this is the 52nd live stream. So of our regular live streams, we do the Friday ones, and we haven't had near as many of those. But I want to thank everybody for just helping me to get to this point, and all the great participation, great questions, great comments, and the support. I mean, I've had people like Mike Newland and many, many others who have gifted memberships. I've had so many of you give super chats, super stickers through this last year. It's just been humbling. So thank you all very, very much for your support to the channel. I appreciate every one of you. And like I said, this is the greatest hobby community imaginable. And people often say on YouTube, but I think it's a great hobby community of any type, anywhere. So appreciate every one of you. Let me get some of the comments here. Nick says, happy 1 year of live streams, Bop. Thank you, Nick, and thank you for being a part of it. Medic says, good afternoon. Great channel member and spreadsheet warrior. Good to have you here. Nick just got done cutting the grass. That South Louisiana sun is brutal today. It is so hot here in Mississippi. I walked across and got myself some lunch at a place, and man, I was only outside about a minute and a half, and it was pretty rough. So humidity and high heat. Medic, yeah, going to cut mine. Agree. The stream, yeah, it's if y'all are like me, I listen to these things when I'm on my mower or tractor with my Bose headphones on, noise canceling. Just drowns out the mower or the tractor. It's good. Juan Garcia is here, channel member, says, good afternoon, Bop, and congrats on 1 year anniversary. Thank you, Juan. Thank you for being a part of it. Dim, channel members here. Happy Sunday fun day. It is. Good to have you here, Dim. Thank you for all that you've done and participated in this last year of live streams. Happy anniversary. Thank you. Stinky Monkey Baby's here. Good to have you, Stinky. Nick, will Dugras be lending you his favorite quarter for the anniversary celebration? No, I didn't think to ask him for that, but yep, that would be cool. Ebby is here. Ebby Kayan says, happy anniversary, channel member. Thank you, Ebby, for that. That's spreadsheet warrior, I believe, too. Nick 1828 says quartet, not quarter. Oh, the quartet. Yeah, his like, oh, yeah, that's he's hilarious with some of his music stuff. I'm not that musical, so, well, I am. I play guitar all my life, but as far as knowing harmonies and things, that wouldn't be my thing. Jessica Wynn, channel member, says, happy 1 year RM. Thanks for all the great content. Thank you. What we do as content creators wouldn't be possible if we didn't have people who are interested in it. So thank you very much. Tulare says, hello, Bop, and happy anniversary. Thank you, Tulare, for being a channel member and being here. Hybrid Vortex says, happy anniversary. And Scopo Travel says, congrats on your 1 year anniversary. And thank you for that. And Nick, I'm a pour and push mower. I need to get a MagSafe attachment on my mower so I can watch and not just listen. Yeah. Well, I drive my mower, but I just listen. So you get most of what you need from listening most of the time. At least I do. All right. I do have some stuff for us to go over here. Let me see if I can find out how many we have in here. I always have to look at my phone for that because I'm just not tech enough to know how to do it on the live stream. So on StreamYard, looks like we have about 20 in here so far. And let's see if anybody's hit the like button. I don't think anybody's hit the like button yet. So let's see if we can get some likes on there. That might help us to have a little more people for our 1 year celebration. All right, I'm going to remove that because I don't know how I got on the very last screen. Let's go back. There we go. All right, as I often do in my live streams, I go through 3 things. I used to have 5 that I went through, but I kind of adjusted it a while ago. I go through new developments. I go through a travel report just to kind of share a little bit about our travel life, and my centerpiece, which is kind of the main event. So that's what we'll have today, as is usual. And for the first development, new development, I have not done a dedicated video on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, although I'm kind of mocking one up now to be able to do it maybe in a week or two. But the Chase Sapphire Reserve refresh was huge, and that's why you saw 17 videos of it on one day. It was huge. And the reason it was huge is it was huge because this is the most common travel card I see. In fact, in my regular life, as I'm sure with all of you, I have a lot of people that I interact with who are not credit card people at all, right? Most of them are debit card people. But then I have a few who are credit card people and a very, very, very small few who I would consider gamers in this. So of the regular credit card people, I think all of them that I know have the Sapphire Preferred. I think that I don't have data on it, but I feel confident. I would make a sizable bet that it's the number one travel card people have, and with an annual fee. And so I really believe that it's got the largest market segment. And because it has such a large market segment, that means that anything they do to it, even if they've done far less substantial things to it, it would be news. It would be news. But they didn't do insubstantial things. They did what I think is a fairly substantial, refresh of this card. So I thought we could go through it and talk about it from the RM perspective. I know a lot of people have looked at it from a lot of different other perspectives, and who's to say one's better than the other. Nick says, just hit the like button. Thank you for that, Nick. Let's see. Yeah, still not many have hit the like button that I can see on my end, at least. So that would be great. Then Medic says, change of plans. It's about to storm, so I'll listen on the mower. It's about to storm. Okay, so have fun with that. Nick says, already activated Apple TV. So far, not impressed. Yeah, we've had Apple TV. There's a show, I don't remember what it's called, maybe Silo or something. Nona and I really enjoyed the first season of that. It was pretty suspenseful. It was about living in an underground bunker or something. It was fairly good. Nurican, good afternoon, all. Nurican, great to have you here with us. All right, so what is my RM perspective on this refresh? Well, when it comes to the Chase Sapphire card, the details are, you've heard this from, like I said, 18 other videos, but it has the same annual fee that it did. I think that cannot be emphasized enough of how significant that is. The same annual fee as before, because everybody's raising annual fees. And I think there are some reasons for that, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But the fact that they did not raise the annual fee and it's still $95, it's underneath what would be kind of its contemporary in the Amex Green Card. It's the same price as the Citi Strata Premier Card, which they've sent out surveys considering raising the price on the Strata Premier. They probably won't now. I mean, I think that they would be dumb to now, but Chase they made a stand. I mean, they decided that they're going to keep it the same level. And so is this a loss leader for them? Well, I think it's possible that it is, and we'll talk about that. But I think that's very, very big. The $100 hotel credit, it was $50. Here's the thing about this is that, and I think I saw on Chad's Money Minutes is in here, and I think I saw Chad talking about yesterday that there are going to be people who say, well, now it's a card that pays you $5. I wouldn't look at it that way either. It's not a card that pays you $5, but it does have a $100 hotel credit. And that does counteract in some ways what you're paying for the card. It doesn't completely wipe it away, but it counteracts it. And the $100 is significantly better than $50. But let me be very clear. You're probably not going to find many hotels on the Chase Travel Portal that are $100 or less. That's going to be very hard to do, but you are going to get that discount on maybe a $140 hotel room. And that's significant. And it's literally twice as good as it was before. So they improved the credits on the card by 100%. And then they put a 3x gas and EV charging category. This is a category that is significant because a lot of people, especially in a time, I find this interesting. They chose to do that in a time when people are spending more on gas than ever before. I mean, our gas is, we typically live in a place where gas is the cheapest in the nation. And I mean, most of the time last year, our gas was like $2.30 a gallon or something, $2.50 a gallon. Well, now it's been up over $4 a gallon often. That is super high for where we live. And out in California, it's like $6.50 where my son is. And so they chose to add a category. Now, people are talking about, well, why haven't they changed the grocery category? I don't know. I don't know their logic on all that. But I do know that 3X gas at a time when gas is higher than anything else, that's a pretty bold move, I think. It has additional protections. I don't think about those much. That'd be like to me saying, the emergency evacuation. I do actually know one person who had to have an emergency evacuation because they were scuba diving on excursion from a cruise ship and had aneurysms and stuff and had to be evacuated. It was a sad situation. But the vast majority of people will never, ever, ever have that. So to me, it's nice, but does it move the needle a lot? No. It'd be like, for beach trips, we have shark attack insurance. Well, that's nice, but I'm not really banking on being attacked by a shark, or lightning strike insurance, whatever. It's a low cost thing for them to add, but it does give people some peace of mind. So it's definitely an addition. It makes the card better. Global entry TSA. I mean, it's fine. I mean, for people who this is their only card that has that's fine. That's good. And Apple TV for a year. This is a trial situation that probably Apple TV is paying for, if I had to guess. Apple TV is probably funding that because they know there will be people who get the card, sign up for it, and forget, and then just keep paying it. So but for people who set a reminder to cancel, that's a nice little bonus. I mean, that's good. But the big news, the big news is Hyatt is now 4-3. That means 0 to me because I wasn't transferring my points to Hyatt anyway, or any hotel. And I don't think I've ever transferred points to any hotel ever. But for a lot of people, that was their value that they were getting out of Hyatt and out of Chase. So that's going to hit a lot of people pretty hard. But to me, that is clearly, and I'll get to this. This is my verdict of it all. This card is greatly improved for non-Hyatt people and for average users. So for the average person, that person who has one card that has a fee, which is this one, I think this card got a lot better, maybe twice as good. I mean, it's good now because their gas is covered, their dining is covered. They can book through the portal, which some of those folks do, and get elevated multipliers. Their grocery, well, if they order online, which a lot of people do that, not everybody, we do, but it's from Walmart, so it doesn't work. It's bad. It's a good card. It's a really good card now. But if for people who are having it for Hyatt, they're going to have to move to the reserve or move to build. So that is where that comes down to. So my verdict is this: greatly improved, but it's clearly designed for two things, I think. First of all, it's a feeder for the CSR. The CSR has plainly not done as well as they thought it would, or they wanted it to. That's why they're giving crazy. When have you ever seen credit cards give a better offer 6 months after they put out a new card than the initial offer? That just doesn't happen. But it did with the Chase CSR because that card's not performing like they want it to. And so they're looking at this, and I wouldn't be surprised if Citi's the next one to say, well, people aren't getting the elite card because they can transfer from the preferred 1-to-1 to American. And I would not be surprised at all if in the next few months, Citi follows this same pattern and makes the transfer to American Airlines from the preferred card of 4-3 because they've got the same problem. I mean, why get the better card if your main use case is that one transfer partner? So I think that is really what it comes down to. A lot of people are speculating that, well, the reason they're doing this is because that, Hyatt's charging them too much and this, that, or the other, whatever. I'm not sure. I don't know how all those dynamics work, but I know this: Chase needs Hyatt, but I think Hyatt probably needs Chase too, because Chase issues their credit cards, and that's pretty big deal, right? I mean, we know the airlines make more money on their credit cards than they do on flying the plane. So I don't. I think it's a symbiotic relationship. So if I were to had to guess at Chase's strategy in this, they're not getting the traction on the CSR they wanted. This is a move to get people who want that Hyatt, and those are going to be very diehard people, to get them to go ahead and get the CSR. And I think also it's a move to put pressure on their competitors to once again maybe be considered top of the heap, because I think they're bleeding people to City and bleeding people to Built and bleeding people, not everybody, because there's a lot of people who've never heard of those other companies, and they're just going to be they're simple users. They're going to be Chase people no matter what. But even 5, 10, 15% can make a big difference. So that's kind of where my verdict is on it as of now. All right, let's go back to some of the content. As I said, Chad's Money Minutes is here. Yo, hey, Chad. Good to have you in. Enjoyed your live stream yesterday. Hybrid Vortex, still recommending the Premier card for my friends who get curious about the credit card game. Well, that's because it's a good card. I mean, it's one of the best of the best as of right now. Nick says new CSR has been such a dumpster fire that they had to strong arm people into applying for it, and 1-to-1 Hyatt might be enough for some people. People are very loyal to Hyatt. I think it will be. If Hyatt hadn't made the changes, the changes in their award chart, then I think that it probably would be enough for a lot of people. But they're having to deal with that as well. Jessica Wynn, channel member, good to have you here, Jessica. Since getting your Atmos card, how do you prioritize diverting spend over all your spend between Built, AA, Atmos, City for chasing status and points, and leaving spend for subs? Good question. So I just got approved for the Atmos Summit card. Don't have it yet. It's coming in the mail. I think how it's going to work out is I'm going to hit the sub probably with 1 or 2 big purchases in the next month or so. And then I'm going to use it for all my overseas spending. And I'll probably use it a little bit for some dining spend, but not all my dining spend, because I'm not going to shift that from the Prestige and the Elite to get 5 and 6. And then I'm going to evaluate it for the first year and see if I know I'll hit their lower level of status, and I may take some flights to see how that works on American to kind of do a test run. And then if I think that I'll benefit far more, then I'm going to readjust all my cards. And then next year, about this time next year, if I evaluate and decide I want to switch all in on Atmos, then I'll probably try to put the 60K spend on it in 2027 to 2028. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Right now, on my subs, I just basically do my taxes for subs, and then 1 or 2 big purchases I get reimbursed for a year. And then on everything else, Built gets my general spend. Custom caches get some categories: gas, home improvement, dining. Everything goes on Prestige and City Elites on Friday and Saturday nights. And then all my spend for airlines go generally on the Prestige card, but sometimes on the MX Platinum card. So I hope that answered the question. Hybrid Vortex. On Apple TV, I recommend watching Pluribus. Okay. Pluribus. Nick, 1828, just filled up for $3.40 a gallon. I miss the cheap gas days, even though some people might kill to get $3.40 a gallon. Yeah, our gas is about that here now too, so maybe just slightly less. Nick, before I got into the game, I didn't even know what Hyatt was. I'd never heard of them either until started thinking about credit cards. Memphis Mike, RM, you're a Built fan, so let me ask you. I'm pre-approved for the $495 Built card for $50K, but here's the problem. Both of my mortgages are paid off. Is the Built card still worth getting? I think so. I do. If I had a paid off mortgage, and I don't, but I have a very small mortgage, so it doesn't really burn me up a lot of points doing that. So I'm not quite in that situation, Mike, but not far off because in fact, I just got my escrow statement yesterday and my mortgage went down because my taxes went down. So I just don't have a big mortgage. So on my farm, but you know, I do get a few points that way. But with the accelerator, so you can focus everything on the accelerator, and then you can do other things for built cash. And I'm telling you, a card that earns well over 3 points per dollar on your general spend that are super valuable points, that's pretty good if you've got a lot of spend. It's pretty good. And then you'll have, if you have extra built cash, you can always throw it into an occasional, you can buy a Walgreens gift certificate every single month. That's easy, and just store those up. You can get a lift ride here and there. You can buy a hotel room for $100, every month if you want. All sorts of different things. Memphis Mike, congratulations on 1 year anniversary. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. AS1234, congratulations on 1 year. And my friend of the channel, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Mike Newland, thank you. 10 Rewards Master Gift memberships. If you receive one of those memberships, make sure to thank Mike. In fact, I think most of us have had at least one membership, if not multiple, from Mike through the last year or so, or maybe even more than that. So we all owe him a great level of appreciation. Dem, check out that Atmos shopping portal and Atmos dining as well. I will. There won't be any Atmos dining anywhere close to me because none of them have anything close to me. That's why I just use Mileage Plus X. I don't know why they can't have chain restaurants. Dem, can you explain that to me? Why can't any of them sign up Texas Roadhouse or Chili's or Applebee's or, I don't know, Steak and Shake or Chipotle? I mean, why can't any of the dining programs, why do they all have to be mom and pops? I do not understand. Because clearly they can, because United did. So it can be done. I just don't understand why. I mean, they would cover much more of America and get more business that way. LG said, good afternoon and everybody, and thank you, Mike. Mike handing out the memberships. Dem, also, I was able to move my seats to preferred seating with AA free of charge. Can upgrade to main cabin extra 24 hours before departure. Currently have Atmos Silver 1 Ruby close to Atmos Gold. Okay, let's be clear here, Dem. I am happy that you're able to get the preferred seats. That's great. Is that an exit row? No, I think the exit rows are main cabin extra. But and I'm glad that you might be able to move to main cabin extra 24 hours before. We had a great discussion about that, by the way, on Anthony Venture's School Live last night. It was fun. Okay, Russell Roves, Atmos is so valuable. I've been looking at, that's going to be the main event today. I've been looking to go to Tahiti through Alaska. It's 40,000 points one way. Great value from LAX. Yeah, I was looking at those flights too. They are very, very good. Dem says Sapphire. Did I? S-A-P-P. I'm wondering if you're trying to tell me I misspelled it. I thought I spelled it right. I think I did. Okay. Let's see. CG says, congratulations, Bop. I think for me, the summit is really worth it. And all the way booking fees. Oh, yeah. I'm going to really slam that. It was going to be better when I could book American last minute, but now it's 7 days out. So Ron Byrne, channel member, canceled my wife's CSP about 15 minutes ago. 15 minutes. Wow. It was a point grab when I got it. I downloaded to the Freedom 5% rotating category card. My goal is to reduce annual fees. CSP is valuable for many. Yeah. I mean, and I don't think anybody can argue it's gotten better. I mean, that made it better. The refresh helped. Ron Byrne, I'll be keeping my Vert transfers. Yeah, that's going to be my strategy also. I was going to keep my ink preferred, but I got to thinking about it, and I'm not sure that I wouldn't rather have, because it's different. I'm not going to use the DoorDash stuff. So, but I will use the hotel credit. And as a transfer tax card, I'm just not sure that it's going to be net better for me to keep. The total plan was before to cancel the Sapphire Preferred and keep the ink preferred. But now I'm not quite sure that's what I'm going to do. I might just keep the ink preferred for a year and then get rid of it. Okay, Mike Newland says the restaurants already spend enough on advertising that they don't need to sign up with the reward system. They run their own reward system. Well, how do you think? And I'm sure you're right, Mike, because I know that you know. But why do you think United's able to get them? Because they got like all those chain restaurants through Mileage Plus X. Nick says, is there a way to see edit hotel prices without having a CSR? I don't know. I've never really looked, but I'm sure somebody in here can definitely tell us if that's true or not. Jay Kelsey, Atmos shopping portal is great. Atmos points and status on top of. Now, what do you get? One status point for every $3 you spend through the portal? Is that how it works? Vincent has been a member for 7 months. Happy Sunday. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you for your loyalty this whole time and your support. Nuracan, just use Atmos Dining here in Vegas at Smoked Barbecue. Not bad. Not bad at all. We'll go again. All right. Awesome. Atmos Dining. I want to get back to Vegas because I've got to go to the Caesars buffet again. That was awesome. I mean, they lost money on us. It's $95 a piece, but me and my 3 boys, grown men, one of them who spends 3 hours a day in the gym, we slammed lobster and crab. And I mean, there was a mountain of shells of lobster and crab on that table. Even at $95, they lost money on that. That was awesome. Awesome. We used to do the Wynn buffet, but now the Caesars is our new place. Damn, they all flow through Rewards Network. Most of those restaurants spend their marketing dollars elsewhere or have their royalties funneled to corporate if they're independent franchisees. Okay. I'm not sure how United does it. Yeah, I don't know how they do it either, because I've gotten hundreds of thousands of points through Mileage Plus X through the years at places like Chili's. I mean, it's great. Abby says those chains on United are gift card offers, or are they actually on the United Dining Portal? They're not on the United Dining Portal either. They're just on United Plus with the gift cards. But you're earning 3, 4, or 5x extra on top of your credit card on Mileage Plus X. I don't know how they get it. It says Mileage Plus X app. Vincent, I'm planning to downgrade my CSR to CSP. 3x gas would be really helpful. Online groceries will work. Most of my grocery stores I shop at, since they have mobile apps for QR codes. Okay. That's what the strategy a lot of people do. Manuel says, I like my Atmos Summit too. Yeah, I'm excited to get it in the mail. Dem says, yes, RM. 3-1 on status. Lyft is 1-1. Lyft is 1-1 on status? Wow. Would that be true if you just put money in your Lyft account, or do you have to go on a Lyft ride? I wonder. Jay Kelsey, I believe so. 1 for 3. Vincent, I opened a Chase business checking account last week too. $400 bonus after depositing $2K and making 5 transactions. It's good. That's a really good bonus. $400 for $2K. That's an excellent bonus. Memphis Mike, the Wynn buffet is amazing. I think so too, and I love it. But have you tried the new Caesars buffet? Because I think it was better, but Wynn is awesome. Vincent, I rely on the dining portal or Rakuten Dining when I use the Rakuten card. That's a good strategy for sure. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. And this is our trip report. And this is just, I was looking back through my phone and I found our pictures from December 2025, where we stayed in what is at this current stage Nona's favorite hotel we've ever stayed in. We used our free night cert last year at the Conrad Fort Lauderdale, which I know many of you stayed at the Conrad Fort Lauderdale. It's amazing. And on the night we stayed, it was $1,100. And of course, we used a free night cert. And then we took our FHR and we went to Coral Gables. We had a rental car. We drove the 30, 40 minutes, whatever, to Coral Gables. And we stayed in the Lowe's at Coral Gables. And it was a fantastic stay. So these are just a few of the photos. So there's Nona we were at the pool and we're trying to use our credits, our resort credit. So we got some chips and guacamole. She liked it. We're there. It says Fort Lauderdale behind us there. And then the thing she loved about the Conrad Fort Lauderdale more than anything was the free bike rentals. And so we rode that all up and down the the beach there and just had the best time with that. There we are having breakfast there in the Conrad in the morning, sitting out at the beach in our reserved beach chairs they had for us as Diamond members. And then there's a picture of the Lowe's hotel, and I have pictures of inside that, but I thought I'd save that for a different one. But that was just a fantastic trip. So if you're needing just a couple day getaway, what I love about it is from Memphis, we can get down to Miami before noon, fly out of Memphis, get there before noon, have all day, all the next day, come back the third day, and we're just there for 2 nights. Can use a free night cert and maybe an FHR, a couple FHRs. And there's a lot of good properties there. So that's kind of what I wanted to share about that recent trip report. Damn, you can load gift cards to Lyft, but only get the points and status from Atmos when you ride. Okay, that's the answer. I use my City Custom Cash for that. Got it. So it's not about using your card, your Atmos Summit card on Lyft. It's about using Lyft, and then you get rewards from them through Atmos. Got it. CG8990 is a channel member. The closest chain near me for Built-A Rakuten dining is Nothing Bunt Cakes. Clever name. Nice for bringing something to a get-together, but no help for a night out. Yeah, I get it. Medic, spoiler alert, I didn't beat the storm. All right, so you're back in the house and not mowing. I got it. It's been raining so much here. I've been having to mow whenever I can interspersed. I went out, and then I was working on my jet ski a little bit, and I had the panels open, and then it started, I was inside and started pouring rain. I'm like, oh, I got the panels open. So I had to go out because you don't want water getting all in the engine compartment. So I got soaked putting those panels back on real quick. So, yep, in the South, it can get rainy fast, very, very fast. All right, so let's move on to the main event. The centerpiece is lowest point redemptions with a goal of 3 seats. Now, where this is coming from is, it is harder to get great point redemptions. I think we all have to admit that. It's harder to get great point redemptions than it was before sometimes. So what I was thinking is I'm thinking of experimenting with our poor man's business class strategy that we do all the time. Nona and I domestically always book the A and C seats, usually on row 17 on American, because I love that seat. I like it better than a first class seat because of the incredible amount of legroom in that second exit row seat. But we'll book A and C, and most of the time, unless that plane is chocked full, most of the time nobody sits in the seat in between us. And when they do, we just offer them the window seat, and they always take it. So it's no problem. So it's a win-win usually. But internationally, I'm not sure that'll work. So I did a little research, and you can purchase an extra seat, and you just have to call United, Delta, American, Alaska, any of those, and you can book the middle seat for the same price. And so I got to thinking, that would be a pretty comfortable experience, because Nona and I wouldn't mind at all, one of us sitting in the window seat and the other one resting for a while, laying their head on their lap, sleeping a little bit while the other one watches a movie, and then swapping out. We wouldn't mind to do that. That would be a pretty comfortable experience. And I'm not sure that on a long flight, it might not be a better experience than, as long as we're in a seat where the armrests come up. But I'm not sure that it wouldn't be a better experience than flying premium for a long flight. I'm just not sure. So I'm thinking about testing this out, and we'll video it, of course, for her channel if we do. But what I decided to do is I thought, but what would that cost? So what's going to cost me if I buy 3 economy tickets versus 2 premium economy, and especially versus 2 business class? And is the savings worth it? Is it actually better? I don't know. So I had to do a little deep dive. So I got on seats.aero, and I did like a whole year of searches. And I think I looked basically to 6 months primarily in my recording of this data. And I was just trying to find out, but I found out a lot of other things too in this process, because here I'm not looking for average cent per point value like the Points Guy will publish or some of those. I'm not looking for what's the best just business class deal occasionally. I was looking across the board. What is the frequent, and that's a key word, cheap rate? In other words, if I just saw it once, I didn't count it. If I just saw it twice, I didn't count it. I had to see it multiple times. What's the frequent cheap rate? So I'm basically looking to see, can I get the 3 seats for cheaper than the 2 seats in premium or not? And I ended up enjoying the data anyway because it helped me think about business class and so many other things. And so this is the data. And before I dive into it, I'll get a couple more of these. Medic, just checked the radar and didn't realize we're about to get rain our way. Yep. P-Mart Supermart, channel member. I've done this in my Japan trip. Ended up getting 3 cents per point with American booking 2 seats for myself. What do you think about that versus premium economy, P-Mart? I mean, I'm debating. I'm not sure we won't like it better. I just don't know. So let me know. I'd love to know your opinion. Okay, so cheapest award prices over the next 6 months from the USA. Now, I did this from everywhere in the USA, but I found that from my airports, I pretty much tracked pretty similar. Now, sometimes the business class flights I couldn't find as cheap out of my airports, but the economy premium, if the price is here, I could find it out of Memphis a lot, out of Birmingham, out of Huntsville. Wasn't too hard. This is what I found on American. So on American Airlines, Asia, the cheapest I found to Asia was 32.5 in economy. So that meant for a one-way trip, if I were to buy 3 of those, that would be just shy of 100,000 points. Now, I can find 42.4 thousand points in premium economy. Now, remember, and this is a very important caveat to all this. Nona and I can fly whenever we want. We can go. We're not restricted by schedule. So now I have to know in advance because I have to tell my job when I'm going to be gone. But basically, I get to choose when my vacation is. So, and Nona works remotely, so it's not a problem. So if the best deal is on October 10th, we can go on October 10th. If the best deal is in September, we can go then. If the best deal is in January, we can go then. We're very, very flexible. So this information is very helpful to me and to anybody who's very, very flexible. I mean, if somebody was retired or if someone had, like, you're the boss and you can take time whenever you want, whatever it may be, this will help you. But if you're tied to dates and locations, this won't be as helpful to you because you're not going to find most, unless you're just super lucky, you're not going to find the best deal on the date you want it. You're not going to find that. But if you let your date be totally flexible and your location be flexible, then you might very well find it. So I had to just throw that in. So Asia, 32.5. So in this situation, 2 premium economy seats are actually cheaper than 3 economy seats would be. And then here's the deal. 60K in business. Now, you don't find those a lot. I didn't find those a lot, but I did find them. And 60K in business is only 120 versus just shy of 100. There is no way I'm going to pay 100 to sit in economy, even with 3 seats, when I can pay 120 and sit in business. There ain't no way. That's not even going to be considered, right? So right there with Asia, not going to do that strategy when I'm flexible. Europe. For Europe, though, the equation kind of changes. So it changes a little bit because it's 20K in economy. And I'm telling you, I found a number that were 20 or 21 or 22K in economy. That means that I can get 3 economy seats for the 2 of us for 60,000 points, which is 50% cheaper than 2 premium economy seats, which would be 80,000 points because they're 40. And it's 60,000. It's basically for both of us the same price as 1 business class ticket at 57.5, which 57.5 is a great price on business class. It's great. And we've done that before. However, a lot of the times when it shows the 57.5, and somebody explained this to me, because some of you will probably know, but why is it that when I see those 57.5 business class prices with American to Europe, there'll be 11 of them, and 10 of them are on British Airways, and the taxes and fees are $930. But one of them is also on British Airways for part of the flight, and it's $137. Why is that? Dem, Mike, any of you guys have Medic, anybody have an idea of why there'll be this one-off? And it happens a lot. There's this one-off flight on British Airways through American that's, 9 times cheaper, 8 times cheaper than the other ones. Why? Still goes through London Heathrow. I don't know. I can't figure that out, but I've been seeing that over and over and over. So for Europe, it becomes a little more of a viable strategy, right? Now for South America, this one was hard because the search engine just pulls up South America, and some things they count as South America are really Caribbean. So 9,000 economy, that's super duper cheap. 25K in premium, 20K in business. This was one of the few times that I actually found cheaper business classes than the cheapest premium economy. So I don't know. We haven't branched out to South America yet, but we're going to see. This one was what was interesting to me. Oceania. So that means New Zealand, Fiji, of course, Australia, all of that. And most of these were to Sydney. 28K in economy on American. You can get an economy seat for like, what is that, 17 hours or something for 28K. So that means 3 of them would be 90K. I mean, or less. So 80 something K. That's pretty good. But you can get sometimes premium economy seats for right at 50K, 49.5, which is kind of weird. And then you can get business class seats, but these are hard to find, but they do exist for 65K in business. So there it's like, yeah, those economies are so cheap, but the business class is so cheap. So that's the thing, is that as I'm comparing the economy versus the premium, that's really where the comparison is. But if it's not that much more for business, business is so much better. So yeah. Now, but Africa is kind of interesting. It's almost like Europe, 22.5. This is another weird one where premium is more expensive than business, but only 57 in business. But like I said, I'm not going to pay that $900 for British Airways. I got to find the cheaper one. Has anybody got me an answer yet on why you think there's be 1 out of 10 British Airways flights on AA that's like 130 instead of 950 or whatever? Just unbelievable to me. Let me go back to comments. Maybe somebody answered that. P Mart says premium economy was more expensive than 2 economy. Yeah, that often happens. That's exactly my point. Medic says, Nick, yeah, I was on MSC cruise out of Miami for the past week and heading down to NOLA tonight to work for the week. All right. And Jay Kelsey, lucky I can take off whenever too, but I'm restricted to the kids' school holidays. Yeah, that's a restriction for sure. Source King, I used 80K American Airlines points for JAL first class to Chicago to Tokyo. Man, I need to let you book stuff for me, Source King. That is awesome. Awesome. Dem says, is it a mixed class flight? I see a lot of those 57Ks through LHR with insane taxes frequently. Yes, it was a mixed flight. So when I'm flying back to Memphis, I often see, I mean, not often, like I said, 9 of them or 10 of them will be for $900 in taxes and fees, but there'll be 1 or sometimes 2 that are like $100 and something in tax fees. And there's still British Airways through London, but then the last leg is on American or something. But then some of the others that are high priced are that way too. I don't understand it. I do not understand it. Points Dexter, after all, congrats on the miles. Afternoon, all. Congrats on the milestone, Bop. Thank you very much, Points Dexter. Good to have you here. And Patrick, St. Patrick is a member for 12 months. Happy 1-year anniversary, and happy 1-year anniversary for your membership to you as well, St. Patrick. Thank you for your support, long support of the channel. Damn, have you checked Atmos for any of these? Yep. They're my last slide on the list. And I just used Flagship First and 560 taxes for London. I like the Virgin and BA product better, but I can handle the taxes. Yeah. Was flagship first. How much did that cost you? About 80 on a saver, I think, something like that. I had it on my original list, but I didn't include firsts on here. Medic, I wonder if it's a different airline if they split the tax hit up and AA will eat the cost where BA won't. Maybe. I don't know, because they don't on some of them. That's what's weird. And those have an American flight on them too. Dem, we're going to Grand Cayman in 2 weeks out of Miami on AA first metal for 18K Atmos each round trip. Yep, that is a sweet deal. Grand Cayman. That's because it hits within that distance band. Nona and I are thinking about a little trip to Chicago, and same thing out of Memphis. Dim, AA wanted 37.5 round trip in Maine for the same flight. Yep, absolutely. That happens sometimes. Dim each. Points Dexter says Cathay Pacific sometimes has great deals on BA with lower taxes too. Yeah, I've heard that. I need to start checking them as well. Ian says, I think when Dem said mixed class, he meant econ and business. Since taxes are lower in economy, that could be the mixed class flight, thus reducing taxes. Okay. Yeah, maybe that's instead of different airlines. But I think that on these flights that I was checking, the last leg was in first class, domestic first class. So I don't know. Jay Kelsey, I hear Cathay is the way to go for BA bookings, but I haven't tried myself. We're in the same boat. Vincent, just use the Upside app with your promo code. Thank you. That's awesome. That means my next Taco Bell run will be like 30% back, something like that. That's awesome. At a smoothie bar and stacked it with Rakuten Dining and paid with the Rakuten card. Vincent, you're playing the game on honor mode. That is awesome. Points Dexter, going to London in August. Book through Cathay for BA Metal, 89K business class. Taxes around $350. That's not bad on BA ever. And Points Dexter, LAX to LHR. Good. And Dem says, you are correct, Ian. So that's what he was talking about. He was talking about different cabin classes. Got it. All right, the next slide. Now I'll go through these kind of quick because Delta is totally irrelevant here. I wanted to check them because we actually have a 3 cent per point redemption this fall over to Asia in premium economy with them. But I think it was I must have accidentally hit a sale or something because I haven't seen anything as good in a while. Because mine is actually better than the best price I found on here. So I got it for 71K each in premium. And in Asia, it said the cheapest I could find for the next year was 78. So 35 in economy. So that would be like 105 for 3 seats. 78 in premium. So the 35 buying 3 seats on Delta would be better. And then 145K in business. That's the cheapest thing I found. I mean, and I ran a year from any airport in the United States. And that's what I found. Europe, 32.4 to Europe. Not much better. Asia's frankly a better deal. 74 in premium. Definitely not a better deal. 115 in business. I still think not a better deal. South America, it gets better. 16K in economy. That's better. Oceania, 35 in economy, same as Asia. 100 in premium, so more than Asia. Weird. And then 50.3 in economy and 112.3 to Africa. Delta is completely irrelevant for this exercise. I mean, I wanted to check them, give them a shot, but anybody surprised by those numbers? I wasn't. United, they weren't near as bad as Delta. They were, I mean, especially in the premium. That's where and even in their business, not terrible. So 39K to Europe, that's not good. I mean, what was Delta on theirs? Delta was 35. So, I mean, not good. To Asia, excuse me. 59 in premium. Now that compared to Delta was 78. That's a lot better. 59 is better. And then the 80 in business is a lot better. And of course, I'm figuring those are 88,000 saver fares. I'm figuring you have the United card on this because I do. Europe, 36, not good to Europe. I mean, compared to 20, not good. It's more than Delta. It costs more to fly to Europe United than it does on Delta. Weird, but 45 in premium, a lot better than Delta. And then 72 in business, yeah, a lot better than Delta. So they're not bad in the better cabins, but they are not a good choice in economy. Oceania 41, which is still not as good as the others, not even close. 59 in premium, and then Africa, kind of the same story as the others. So that's where we are on United. And then Dim asked for it. Here it is, Alaska. So Alaska to Asia is $30K. So that's $90K for 3 seats. But it's not as good as flying premium because it's $40K. And who would do that when you can fly business at $60K? I mean, that's just smoking awesome. Europe, even better. 22.5. Now, remember, that's not as good as American. American had 20. But Alaska has more available at this price at 22.5, which is very close. 30 in premium, very good, and amazing 45 in business. Same thing, South America, Oceania, 37.5. They're not really as competitive there. I mean, they're competitive, but American beats them to Oceania in economy. 55K in premium, 85K in business. That one, you could get some others that were pretty close. American was actually cheaper in business to Oceania. So there's that. So that's not their strongest point. But then Africa. So that's what I had from these. Let's see if we have any more comments before I get to the conclusion of all of this. Looks like we still have about 50 watching in here. So that's good. Hit the like button if you haven't done that. All right, no more comments. So we'll move on to the conclusion. So the winners for Asia, economy, 30,000 in Alaska. But I mean, it's hard because is 90,000 for 3 seats in economy better than 80,000 for 2 seats in premium? Don't know. But I know this. Both Alaska and American have 60K business class seats to Asia. Now, you can't just pick a date and have that, but they do have them available if you're flexible. And so here's what I'm never going to do. I'm never going to spend 80 or 90,000 points when I can spend 120,000 points and fly in business class. That's just the way it's going to be. Now, Europe, same thing. American is by far the cheapest, 20K. But in premium, Alaska's got 30K. So it costs the exact same amount for 3 seats in economy as it does for 2 seats in premium. Okay, exact same amount. But business is 45K. That means for 90,000, you're going to Europe in business. I'm doing that. I'm doing that all day long. The other winners are Oceania. In economy, American really slammed it. It's 28K. I mean, you can get a 28K economy. So that means 3 seats together are pretty good, right? I mean, that's, what's that, 60, 16, 76. It's really a good price, right? So then you have premium, about 100K for the both, but you can fly business on American to Oceania for 130 to Australia. I mean, that's really good. And then Africa, American and Alaska are both 22.5. This is the only place any other airline wins. Going to Africa, you can get United for 50,000 in premium. But you can get business on Alaska for 45,000. So why on earth would you do that? So that's my overall conclusion. So this is what I came up with. American and Alaska are simply cheaper than their competition. And Delta's not even in the stratosphere. Now, United makes sense sometimes. I mean, it does. Especially if you have their credit card with their new price scale. With American's cheapest fare, it's cheaper to buy 3 economy tickets to Europe than 2 premium seats. And that's really the only place where it's actually cheaper. So those are what I kind of came up with. as far as my conclusions. And that's the data that I had for today. So let me go back through my good friend Travis White. We just did a video live together this last week and have another one planned coming up. Travis says, happy 1 year, Bop. I can't stick around today, but wanted to pop in and say congrats. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate it. Nuracan booked 40K Atmos Premium Economy LAX to PPT on Air 280 Nui for next year. Awesome. Source King, I love Alaska and Atmos points to get a lot of value from them, but they do show a lot of phantom availability. Yep, that can happen. Russell Rose, Nuracan, I'm going out there next year as well, brother. Congrats. Medic Spring Break, I got 4 premium economy seats back from LHR, 30K on AA. There we go. That's what we're talking about. Nuracan, thanks, Russell. I'm going in April, staying at the Conrad Bora Bora. Sounds good. And clarifies each. All right. Well, if anybody's got any last comments they want to throw in, I want to thank Mr. Mike Newland, who gifted 10 Rewards Master memberships. I think that's the only one that we had today to go over. We had a couple who celebrated anniversaries. St. Patrick is at 12 months. And Vincent's at 7 months. That's awesome, guys. Thank you for that. And of course, like we said, Mike gifted those memberships as he often does. And we're so very, very appreciative of that. A-Tier says, congrats, Bob. I was getting my nails done, so not commenting, but enjoyed the content. I'm glad. Good to have you here, A-Tier. All right, guys. Well, I will wrap it up, shut her down. Thank you, everybody, for being here this afternoon, and I will see you here at the next live. Take care.